Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Had Powers of God's Left-Hand Man Samson movie. Before we start, please go support Guerrero Legends for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei is a 17-year-old boy who tries to be a normal boy to be well with his family, but his twin sister Izumi, who is the bearer of the great Dragon Tiamat, joins the student council, causing his family to slowly forget him. But what they don't know is that Issei is one of the few people who was blessed by God himself. Chapter 1. It was a night like any other in the big city of Kwa. People walked calmly, the shops remained open and the cars traveled to their destination. But in the room of a hospital we can see a brunette of about 20 years old who was giving one or another cry of pain, while two doctors were with her as well as a 22-year-old brunette. "Doctor, come on, Miss Hayadu, it's almost time for him to leave," he said this while trying to hold something. The young woman only screamed more in pain as she tried to exert strength, and then some sobs were heard. "Doctor, congratulations, it's a baron," she said, carrying what looked like a baby. But at that moment the young brunette would begin to scream in pain again. "Doctor, we're not done yet," he said, grabbing another blanket. "Doctor, come on, Miss Hayadu." "Young man, come on, love, you can do it," he said while carrying his daughter. The girl just gave another push and more sobs were heard, and the doctor covered the other baby with the blanket. "Ikari, what is it now?" she asked, somewhat agitated. "Doctor, it's a girl," he replied happily. Ikari just took the little girl, while the boy still had the little one in his arms. "Carlos, they are beautiful," he said, looking at the twins. "Ikari, and what are we going to call them, Carlos?" "Carlos, Issei," he said, looking at the little one. "Izumi," he said, looking at the baby Issei, and "Izumi Hayadu." The two little ones just started laughing as they looked at their parents, who were smiling at their little children. 17 years later, we can see a certain chestnut sitting in a tree while eating some salad. Then his two greatest friends Murayama and Keitace would arrive, and they had a big smile when they saw him. "Issei, hello Keitace, hello Murayama." "Keitace, hello Issei." "Murayama, can we sit here?" "Issei, of course." So both girls sat down and kept the brown-haired boy company and began to talk about normal things while being watched by a certain redhead. "Murayama, Issei, how are things with your family?" "Issei, well, nothing has changed. They still give more attention to Izumi while I, well, am still her shadow." "Keitace, that's unfair. You're a good boy, you're smart, strong and handsome." "Issei, but still, no matter how many times I tried to prove my capabilities, Izumi will always be the spoiled one of the family." "Murayama, Issei, you know that we love you very much. You are like an older brother to us." "Issei, and I will always take care of you properly, my little ones," he said with a smile, making the girls smile too. In the old building, we can see how the redhead saw that with a smile, since it seemed very tender to her that this boy would show such affection towards others. "Aquino, Era President, it seems that you are interested in that boy," she said, approaching and looking at the brunette. "Rias, Aquino, do you know anything about him?" "Aquino, well, his name is Issei Hayadu. He is Izumi Hayadu's older brother. He has a good average of 9.5, being in 4th place of the best students." "Rias, and outside of academia?" "Aquino, well, outside of academics, he is like a ghost to his family." "Rias, what do you mean by that, Aquino?" "Aquino, well, his family doesn't take him into account at all. They only give their attention to his sister Izumi." Rias would just look to see where Issei was and see that he had Murayama and Keitace in a lock while the four of them laughed. "Rias, how can that boy still be happy?" "Aquino, and what are you going to do with the president?" "Rias, I'm going to invite him to join my clan, and if he doesn't accept, I'll ask him if we can be friends." "Aquino, but what's so special about him? His sister is the bearer of Tiamat, one of the strongest dragons below Drake and Albino." "Rias, maybe Aquino, but he gives off an energy that is not only powerful, but also pleasant, pure and warm." Aquino would concentrate and notice that her friend was right about the energy that the brown-haired boy transmitted. "Rias, I want you to tell Kaneko that I kept an eye on that boy, but to keep it discreet." "Aquino, yes, President." She said this before leaving and going to her classes. Rias would stay a while longer at the club while thinking about the brown-haired boy's smile and the happiness he conveyed by blushing. Rias, Issei Haidu, you are a very interesting boy. Chapter 2. Classes had passed normally and everyone was returning to their homes. Issei was the last to leave as he had stayed for a while helping Murayama or Kates clean their classroom. But when he left he saw that his sister was very well groomed and wearing a one-piece dress. Issei didn't understand what was happening until he saw his parents approach Izumi, and they were also well dressed. Issei, are you ready, daughter? Izumi, yeah, dad. Issei, okay, then let's go now or else they will start the party without us. Issei, upon hearing that they were planning to go to a party and that they wouldn't let him know, felt a small pain in his chest and a tear ran down his face. The Haida family was about to start walking, but then Izumi saw her brother who had his eyes covered by his hair. Izumi, Issei? The parents, upon hearing the name of their other son, quickly turned around and saw the brown-haired boy walking past them. Issei, son, this is not what you think, she said a little worried. Issei didn't listen to her and continued walking until he was stopped by his father who held him by the arm. Issei, hey son, if you want you can come with us. Issei just broke free from his hold in an abrupt manner and continued walking, ignoring the call of his family. About 15 minutes passed and Issei found himself on a bridge while watching the cars pass by. Issei, well, it seems like they'll never take me into account. But then he would be called by a girl who was very beautiful and very nervous. Hello, are you Haida Issei? Issei, that's right, miss. What can I help you with? Well, I've seen you cross this bridge several times and also that those times you are very sad. Issei, yes, and what's up with that? Well, I wanted to know if you would like to have a date with me? She said very nervously. Issei, why? Huh? Issei, why me? But well, it's because you're very handsome and you also transmit a vibe of peace and tranquility. That's why. Issei, when? How about Friday at 3 after school? Issei, that's fine with me, miss. Yuma Amano. Issei, okay, then see you on Friday, Miss Yuma, he said and then turned around and started walking. Yuma, because I have to do this, he seems like a good boy but orders are orders, he said and then walked without realizing that they had been seen. I have to inform the president about this. With Issei, he had arrived home and saw that the lights were on. He just sighed and walked in seeing his family sitting on the couch still dressed elegantly. Izumi, until you finally arrived, Issei. Issei, well, since you're here, take it, he said while taking a blue shirt and a pair of jeans. Issei, we bought those clothes for you to wear, go ahead and try them on, so we can go to the party, he said happily. Issei just ignored them and went up to his room while his family looked at him with some sadness. His mother was going to go talk to him, but Izumi interrupted her. Izumi, I'll go talk to Mom, she said going up the stairs. Issei's John, call Tezuka and tell them that we won't be able to go to the party. The older brown-haired boy, now identified as John, just nodded and made a call to let them know that they couldn't go. With Izumi, she was in front of her brother's door, while she had a serious but at the same time sad face. Tiamat, what's wrong, my friend? Have you realized what your brother is going through? She asked sarcastically and angrily. Izumi, Tiamat, now is not the time for you to scold me. Tiamat, yes, whatever you say. Izumi just let out a heavy sigh and tried to open the door but noticed that it was bolted shut. Izumi, Issei, can you open the door please, she said waiting for her brother to open the door, but then she heard something dragging until it hit the door. Please Issei, I just want to talk. Issei, get out. Izumi just sat there while leaning on the door. Izumi, remember when we were kids, bro, we were inseparable, we played together. I still remember how you defended me from anyone who tried to be smart with me. Issei, I don't care. Izumi, Issei, please. Issei, leave me alone. Izumi, okay, but I want you to know that this Friday we had planned to go fishing and if you want we can go all four together, she said sadly as they left leaving her brother alone. Issei was tearing up all the photos he had with his family as some tears fell down his face, as he thought he would never feel the love of his family again. Chapter 3. The days passed and things remained the same. The Hayate family always tried to get closer to Issei, but he simply locked himself in his room and did his academy things. His mother invited him to go out to the store for some things, to buy clothes or to go for a walk. His father wanted him to accompany him to see things at work, and Izumi always tried to get him to leave his room and try to have a talk between siblings, but nothing worked, and that made them feel like the worst family in the world. They just waited for Friday to come and hoped that he would agree to go fishing with them. Present Friday 12 p.m., Issei could be seen walking through the halls of the academy while carrying some documents to the student council, and Sona Citri, the student council president, wanted to talk to him about an important issue. Now he was in front of the student council room. He proceeded to knock and receive a pass. He entered and saw that there was no one there, only the council president. Sona, thank you very much for coming, Issei. Issei, here you go, Kaicho, he said, handing him the leaves. Sona, thank you very much, he said, grabbing the leaves. Issei, and what did you want to talk to me about? Sona, well, it's about you, sister. Issei, what's wrong now? Sona, well, for the past week she's been very distracted and she's not doing the work you asked her to do very well. Don't you know what's wrong with her? Issei, I don't know and it's not my problem. Sona, how could it not be your problem if she is your sister? Issei, well, she hasn't behaved like that with me and not even her parents. Sona, Issei, I know that you and your family have problems, but you must try to solve them. Issei, Kaicho, I always tried to improve so that my parents would give me their attention and tell me. What happened? Sona, Issei. Issei, what happened? Sona, your parents kept ignoring you. Issei, that's right, now I just want to be calm, he said, leaving the student council. Sona, but it's not good for you to be alone, Issei. After that awkward conversation, classes went on normally. Issei decided to stay a while until everyone left. Seeing that there was no one there, he went to the locker room and changed into his academy uniform but green pants and a red sleeveless shirt. He looked at his watch and noticed that he had 45 minutes left until it was 3 o'clock, so without further ado he left the academy and walked very calmly to the central square. With Izumi, she was arriving home, and upon entering she quickly went up to her room and changed her school uniform for a fishing suit, and when she went down she saw her parents with the same clothes and on an armchair the same fishing clothes that they had. Izumi, well, we just have to wait for Issei and go fishing, she said happily. Tezuka, I assure you that Issei and I are going to catch a big fish. Layla, you're wrong there. I'll be the one who catches a big fish with Issei. Izumi, it's not fair, I want to fish with my little brother. Tiamat, and why don't they just let Issei decide who to fish with? She said as she materialized around Izumi's neck as a necklace. The Hayate family just nodded and sat on the armchairs to wait for the brunette. With Issei, he was at the entrance of the square while waiting for his date, when he saw a brown-haired girl hand him a pamphlet with a symbol very familiar to him. The girl gave him a smile as they walked away, and the brunette just smiled and waved his hand goodbye. Issei, oh Rias Gremory, why didn't you give it to me yourself? He said while looking at the pamphlet. Yuma, Issei Kuyun, he shouted while running. Issei just put away the pamphlet and looked at the girl, who seemed to be agitated. Yuma, did I make you wait long? Issei, no, not really, ha ha ha. Yuma, I'm sorry, my last teacher didn't let us go out. Issei, calm down, it's okay. Yuma, well, how about we start our date? Issei, it's fine by me, come on, let me take you to the best ice cream shop in the place, he said, taking her by the hand. Yuma, it's okay, she said, blushing and nervous, but what's wrong with me? I didn't behave like that. But to tell the truth, I don't want to hurt this boy, she thought while seeing Issei's tender smile. Issei, I don't know who you sent me, but I will gain your trust and prove that you no longer have to fear that guy. Since I will protect you from now on, he thought as he watched the black-haired girl look at him with a blush, and her beautiful violet eyes were lost in his honey-colored eyes. Chapter 4. Issei and Yuma were now in a small ice cream shop while they both ate their ice cream, but Yuma was a little strange since she barely ate her ice cream, but she was very distracted thinking whether to do what she was asked or not. Issei had noticed this and decided to talk to her to be able to get her out of her thoughts. Issei, Yuma, are you okay? Yuma, yes, I'm fine, I was just thinking. Issei, are you sure? Yuma, don't worry, he said, smiling. Issei, it's okay, he said, returning the smile. The black-haired girl, seeing that smile full of affection and sincerity, blushed and felt her heart jump with joy. Yuma, what's wrong with me? Every time I see his smile I feel so happy. Could it be that she thought while a blush appeared on her cheeks, but she would be taken out of her thoughts? Issei, and tell me, Yuma, what would you like to be when you finish your studies? Yuma, well, the truth is I had never thought about that, hee. Issei, hee, I see. The two of them finished eating their ice cream and went to different places, like to compare clothes, to the movies. They went to a restaurant. But when they were leaving they saw a lot of people screaming while they had money in their hands. Out of curiosity they approached and saw a giant knock out a man a little smaller than him. Referee, winner, the Crusher, he said while raising the hand of the aforementioned. Crusher, tell me who wants to be crushed, he said, receiving a great scream. But in that he saw Rainier. Wow, but look what we have here. A beautiful, very hexy princess, he said, bothering Rainier and Issei. Tell me, darling, don't you want to come with a real man and leave that useless boy? Yuma, not even in your dreams would I be with you. Crusher, there's girl, what you're missing. Too bad this piece of meat doesn't want to come with me, he said, already annoying Issei and Yuma greatly. Yuma, damn human whisper. But then he sees Issei take off his shirt and get into the ring. Issei, step aside. Yuma, Issei. Referee, wow, looks like we have one more fighter. Subject 1, get down from there. Subject 2, they're going to crush you, little one. Yuma, nope. Issei was going to throw himself against the Crusher, but it jumped and fell on top of him, worrying the black-haired girl. The giant only laughed at that, but then you could see Issei slowly charging at the big guy without any problems, surprising everyone. Issei, where do you want it? In that, Issei throws him against some boxes, causing him to be KO. Everyone just applauded for that. Yuma, Issei, you are my hero, he shouted with joy while the brown-haired boy put on a smile. 8 minutes later, Issei and Yuma were in front of a stand where there were many stuffed animals. But Yuma was looking at a kawaii panda and Issei just gave a smile. Issei, give me that one please, he said, receiving the stuffed animal and giving a few coins. Issei handed the stuffed animal to Yuma, who hugged it with great joy, and they both began to walk towards the park. With the Haider family, they were still waiting for Issei, but then they looked at the clock and noticed that it was already 7:30 p.m. Issei, where will it be? Izumi, Tiamat, can you feel my brother's energy? Tiamat, give me a minute, she said, starting to search for the chestnut's energy. I found it, but... Issei, what's wrong? Tiamat, he is not alone, there is a fallen angel next to him. Issei's what did you say? Izumi, oh no, brother. So everyone quickly left towards the park, feeling the worst. Back with Issei, he was in front of a fountain, while Yuma slowly backed away and prepared a spear of light. Yuma, this is my chance, he said as he got into a pose to throw the spear. I just have to kill him and that's it. Just that and that's it, he said without realizing that he was starting to shed tears. Issei, Yuma, why don't you do it? He asked while still looking at the source. Yuma, perhaps you already knew what my purpose was. With the Haider family, they had already arrived at the park and were watching what was happening, and when they saw that Yuma had a spear of light in his hand they got worried and were going to go in until they heard the following. Issei, I always knew, but tell me, didn't you have fun? Yuma, yes, I had fun. It's been years since I felt this happy, he said as the spear of light disappeared and he hugged his stuffed animal. I don't want to do it. Please go. You have to go before he arrives, he said, crying as he hugged his stuffed animal tighter. I had a lot of fun, Issei. I would have liked to continue spending more time with you, but... She couldn't finish because she was hugged by the brown-haired boy who had moved at a great speed that not even Izumi could see. Issei, don't talk anymore, Yuma, I want you to know that I will protect you no matter what. Yuma, but Issei, this man is very dangerous. Please go away. I will try to stop him as much as I can. Issei, if you didn't exist, my life would no longer have any meaning. I already said that I will protect you and give my life so that you are safe whether you like it or not. Upon hearing those words, Yuma began to cry harder as he hugged the brown-haired boy. Upon hearing that, his family saw the big heart of their son, but they regretted not having valued him and given him the affection he deserved for a long time, especially Izumi. This is so cute it makes me want to vomit. Upon hearing this, everyone saw the sky, encountering a man with a demonic appearance and 10 black wings. Issei and Izumi, a cadre. Yuma, you have been a very bad girl. Chapter 5. Issei was staring at the man in front of him, while Yuma was hiding behind him, and his family watched what was happening with fear. Yuma, why didn't you do what I asked you to do? He said with a macabre smile. You are a very bad girl. Issei, so you are Kokabile, one of the strongest cadres of Grigori. Kokabile, wow, so you know about me. Issei, how could we not know about the cadre with delusions of grandeur and mental problems? He said, making the cadre angry and making Yuma and his family laugh. Kokabile, wow, you must have a lot of guts to talk to me like that. Issei, that's right, and if you still want to be alive, I suggest you get out. Kokabile, do you really think a stupid human like you will do me any harm? Issei, wow, so much ego. Kokabile, more than fed up, created a spear of light and threw it. While everyone saw that, they thought that Issei would not be able to dodge it, but what they saw impressed them quite a bit since the brown-haired boy grabbed it without problems with his bare hand. Issei, interesting, I never thought I'd see one of these so close, he said, destroying the spear as if it were just glass. Kokabile, but how is that? Issei, you say that I am a normal human. Well, you are wrong about that. Meanwhile, not far from there was the Gremry clan and Citri heading at full speed towards the park, since they had sensed Kokabile's energy, and left the academy at full speed to get to where he was. Rias, damn, I never thought Kokabile was around here. Sona, now what are we going to do? We have no chance against him. Saji, Kaicho is right, we should call Zercha-sama. Sona, we're ahead of schedule with that. I've already sent him a message and he'll be here in 30 minutes. Kiba, we just have to hold on until I get there. Tsubaki, there it is, he said, pointing to the fountain where Kokabile was. Tsubasa, pre-Kaicho, there's someone else there. Sona, who? Momo, Issei is Izumi's brother. Everyone was surprised by that, and noticed that it was true, there was Izumi's older brother, and behind him Yuma. Kaneko, President, that's the girl who wanted to kill Issei-senpai. Rias, is that her? She asked, receiving a nod from her tower. Then why are you protecting her? Kokabile, wow, the Citri and Gremry heiresses are here, he said, looking up at the sky where the two clans were. Izumi, Kaicho, he said, coming out of the bushes. Sona, Izumi. Kokabile, wow, there's also the bearer of Tiamat. Izumi, Issei, get out of here, we'll take care of this. The brown-haired boy ignored his sister's words and just said something that shocked everyone but the demons more. Issei, God calls you your humble servant. I ask you to give me a little of your strength, he said, making everyone shocked. Kokabile, so you believe in God, huh? He said, creating another spear of light. Well, I'll gladly send you to him, he said, throwing himself at him. Everyone saw how Kokabile was just a few centimeters away from piercing Issei with his spear, but then something happened that no one thought would happen. The brown-haired boy grabbed the spear and landed a powerful blow on the cadre, sending it against the fountain. Issei, now I will show you my lord's great strength, cheap crow. Everyone just stared at the brunette in amazement, but Rias blushed a little upon feeling his aura and felt calm since he conveyed security and confidence. Kokabile sat up and wiped the blood off his cheek. Kokabile, that hurt a little bit. Kokabile lunged at him again, but Issei grabbed the cadre's polo shirt and proceeded to hit him while still holding him. Everyone watched this in total astonishment, as they couldn't believe that a human was crushingly humiliating a cadre. The brown-haired boy gave a more powerful blow to the cadre's face that knocked him to the ground. Then he grabbed a large rock the size of a car and was going to crush the cadre's head with it. Issei, say goodbye Kokobile. He was going to drop the big rock but was stopped by Yuma. Yuma, Issei, wait, don't do it. Issei, Yuma? Yuma, he's already defeated, please don't kill him. Issei just threw the rock aside and hit Kokobile, leaving him KO. Issei, it's okay, I won't kill him. The black-haired girl just threw herself at him and hugged him very tightly while crying with happiness, and everyone saw that very surprised, but especially the Hayate family, since they never thought that the brown-haired boy had such tremendous strength, nor that he was capable of humiliating a supernatural being that was far superior to them. Chapter 6. After the big kicking that Issei gave to the Kokobile cadre, Sona along with her clan and Izumi went to the underworld to lock up the demonic crow for the rest of his life, while Rias and her clan invited Issei to accompany them to the club so that he could answer some questions. Hidden club, Issei was sitting on an armchair with Yuma hugging him somewhat nervously while the Gremory clan was in front of them with a serious expression. Issei, well, what did you want to talk about? Rias, first of all, let us introduce ourselves, she said, getting up from her desk. My name is Rias Gremory, president of the Occult Club. Akino, I am Akino Hinjima Bais, club president. Kaneko, I am Kaneko Tujo. Kiba, and I'm Kiba Yuto. Issei, nice to meet you, I'm Issei Hayate, but I think you already know that. Rias, yes, but there is also something else we want to tell you. Issei, they are demons, he said without further ado. Akino, Era, how did you know that? Issei, well, knowing that Sona is a pure-blooded devil, I assumed that there were more besides her clan, so I started to investigate which club occupied second place as one of the best, and that's where you guys come in. Rias, wow, I don't know whether to be impressed by all this or offended by the second place thing. Issei, both, so there is no doubt. That made Rias's vein throb, while the others just let out a small laugh, as did Yuma. Rias, well, continuing with the main topic, she said, calming down a bit, I wanted to ask you something. Issei, and what would it be? While outside the club, Sona was arriving with her clan and Izumi, who was a little thoughtful since it seemed strange to her that her brother had that tremendous strength, and just by mentioning God. Sona, are you still thinking about your brother's case? Izumi, Yes, Madam President. Tsubaki, I also find what happened strange. Tsubasa, I only mentioned God and his strength was monstrous that even humiliated Kokobile. Momo, Tiamat, do you know anything? Tiamat, well, I've never seen anything like it. Sona, well, now we will know what your brother is hiding. Saying that, he was going to open the door, but in that they would hear the conversation that Rias had with Issei. Rias, I wanted to know if you would like to join the Gremory, Issei Hayate. The Gremory clan just gave a smile, while the student council became serious, but a certain brunette opened the door abruptly while anger was evident on her face. Izumi, how dare you ask that of my brother? Sona, Izumi, calm down. Izumi, no, I won't. Issei will join the student council and it's already decided. Issei, and who decides that? He said, getting up from the sofa. Do you decide it? He asked seriously while looking coldly and sharply at his twin. Izumi, I'm your sister, so you should be on the student council with me. Issei, what if I refuse? Izumi, then I. It didn't end as Yuma slapped her, knocking her to the ground. Yuma, he's going to join the club, he decides. Izumi, you are, she said, taking out her dragonic aura. Issei, you better think carefully about what you're going to do, he said while snapping his fingers. Rias, Sona, I asked you please to calm your pawn. Sona, Izumi, let's go outside now, I ordered. Izumi, but Kaicho. Sona, get out, I claim. Izumi reluctantly proceeded to leave the occult club. Sona, sorry for Izumi's behavior, she said, bowing and leaving with her clan. Issei, okay, things have calmed down now, and answering your question, Rias, I can't. Rias, why? Issei, because my strength comes from God, and if I become a demon my strength could no longer be the same or could even disappear. Akino, wow, that's very interesting. Kiba, so you can't join the Gremory clan? Issei, unfortunately not. That made the club very sad, but then they heard something that made them happy. Issei, but if I can join the occult club and be an ally. Yuma, I'd like to join the occult club too. That took everyone by surprise, but Issei would only give a smile. Rias, are you sure? Yuma just nodded. Akino, very well. Kaneko, welcome to the occult club, she said, handing them some bandages that said occult club for short. While all this was seen by an Izumi who was more than upset to see that, and could only put on a macabre smile, while thinking about how she makes her brother love her again, and they become united again like when they were little. Chapter 7. Hidden Club. All the members of the Gremory clan were talking happily with Issei Hayadu and Yuma Amano, but she remembered something and put on a face full of sadness, something that was noticed by everyone present. Issei, what's wrong, Yuma? He asked as he approached her. Yuma, since I disobeyed Kokabil's orders, I have now become a renegade fallen angel. There are surely fallen angels already looking for me to kill me. That took everyone by surprise, but Issei more so, since he had grown very fond of Yuma, realizing that she was going to kill him less than 3 hours ago. Issei, don't worry, you'll see that everything will be fine, he said, hugging her. Rias, Akino and Kaneko felt jealous about that, even though they didn't know why, and Kiba just smiled at how friendly and protective his new clubmate could be. Rias, Issei, maybe there's a way for it to be okay. Issei, and what is it? Rias, let her become a demon and be in my entourage. That way she will be protected by the demons. But if you don't like that, we can find another way to help her. Issei thought about it for a few minutes, but when he saw the eyes of his dear Yuma, he knew what decision to make. Issei, do it, Rias. Rias just gave a smile and proceeded to reincarnate Rainier into a demon by touching her 2 pawn pieces. Rias, well, since you are already a demon and part of my entourage, I am going to explain to you the things we do as well as some rules. Yuma, sure. Rias, normally we dedicate ourselves to fulfilling contracts and also to marrying renegade demons, but more the first, and we also receive an allowance for it. Yuma, okay. Rias, the rules are simple. Do not have any problems with members of the club or other demon entourage, and it also applies to members of other factions. Second, respect all clan members, and 3, complete any job that is assigned to you. Yuma, it's okay, hee. Issei, it's obvious that you are very demanding with your rules. Akino, don't even think so, Issei-kun, since she breaks them more than us, she said with a smile. Rias just blushed in embarrassment as she lowered her head and smoke came out of her head. Everyone laughed at that, but then a scroll appeared and Rias proceeded to read it. Issei, what's wrong? Rias, a renegade demon. Very well, Yuma, now I will show you how we exterminate a renegade demon. 30 minutes later, the Gremory entourage and Issei could be seen in front of a large warehouse while Rias explained about the rogue devils to Issei and Yuma. Rias, you see, a renegade demon is one who disobeys his master for his own selfish ends, becoming a being full of darkness and perversion. Issei, I can imagine. Yuma, me too. Rias, okay, Kaneko. The aforementioned was going to proceed to kick the door but was stopped by Issei, who touched her shoulder. Issei, allow me, he said with a calm voice, making the albino blush. Kaneko, yes, she said, stepping aside. Issei approached the door and sent it flying to the other side with a single blow, surprising everyone with the great strength he had. Issei, well, shall we go in? The Gremory clan proceeded to enter while Issei walked behind them but felt like he was being watched. Kaneko, Senior is fine. Issei, yes, I'm fine, I just felt a little chill. Kaneko, well, I just wanted to tell you that we're almost there. Issei, of course. So he continued on his way without realizing that someone was following them. Note, here the fight would be like the one in the story, but I'm not going to put it because I'm lazy. Already finishing with the renegade demon, they talked a little and explained to Yuma how things were going to be from now on, but Issei still felt that someone was looking at him without knowing that he was the person he least wanted around. Izumi, Ani-chan, you have rejected me, but don't think that I will give up. I will find a way for you to stay with me and only with me. my beloved Issei, she said with a smile that expressed love, madness, and obsession. Chapter 8. It's been a week since Issei joined the occult club and Rainier joined the Gremry clan, and since then things have been very calm, or most of it, since during that week his sister Izumi always tried to get closer to him, and even got into trouble with her classmates, including Kates and Murayama, who tried to confront the younger Hayate, who went from having a positive attitude to a very negative one, and that worried the student council president Sona Citri. Sona, Izumi, you should try to calm down your anger. This is the third complaint I have about you this week, she said, somewhat upset and worried. Izumi, no, I'm not going to change until my one-chan lets me be by her side again and joins the student council. Sona, he is already in the occult club and he can't become a demon because he might lose his strength, and… Izumi, I don't care, she screamed, I want him to be with me and not with that red witch. Sona, Izumi, enough is enough, she shouted, already more than angry. I didn't want to do this, but you are suspended from the academy for 2 weeks as well as from council activities. Izumi was very shocked to hear that, but she could only put on a face full of hatred and left the student council, while Sona just held her head in a sign of tiredness. Sona, this is definitely not going to end well. With Izumi, she walked through the halls of the academy while thinking about what to do to get her brother back, but then she heard a loud noise and went to see what was happening. When she arrived, she only found many students recording what seemed to be the biggest beating of her life, since there on the ground was the director of the academy, all beaten up, while being stepped on by a giant. Subject, you see what happens if they mess with me, ha ha ha, he said, exerting more force in his stomp. Look, you idiot, what did you mean? That my daughter was suspended just because she nearly killed one of her classmates. The director couldn't say or do anything while everyone saw how the subject grabbed him by the neck and lifted him up as if nothing had happened. Subject, let's see if this gives you the desire to go around suspending people, he said, preparing a punch, but then a certain brown-haired man interrupted. Issei, hey, he said, drawing everyone's attention, weren't you taught to respect? While the occult club 2 minutes before, they were watching what was happening, but then they felt the energy of that man, noticing that he was a high-class devil. Rias, that bastard. Akino, era, it seems that she wants to show off here. Kaneko, Bucho, let me take care of him. Rias was going to speak, but then she saw Issei starting to approach the guy without showing a hint of fear towards him. Kiba, what are you going to do? Present, the giant man just laughed at that and let go of the director and began to approach Issei. Subject, you really have the guts to challenge someone superior, kid. Issei, with what superior? You would jump to be superior, he said with a mocking smile. Subject, you are a bastard, he said angrily and then smiled, but tell me your name, idiot. Issei Hayadu. Subject, nice to meet you, Issei, my name is Goliath. Issei, like the Philistine giant. Goliath, that's right, he said to hit him, drawing a little blood. Issei wipes the blood and sees how the girls from the club along with Kates and Murayama try to interfere, but he just raises his hand as a sign that he is okay. Then he turns around only to receive another blow, but it seemed that it did not affect him at all. Goliath began to give a combo of boxing punches to Issei, who did nothing to defend himself. Goliath, you are so weak, he said, and then threw him to the ground with a big blow. Everyone watched this with great shock, but Izumi, who was being held by her companions, wanted to intervene. Goliath, I'm the strongest there is, I'm the strongest there is. Everyone just watched Issei, waiting for him to get up and give them a big beating. Issei, my lord, give me strength, whisper. The brown-haired boy got up as if nothing had happened and turned to see Goliath, who was still praising himself. Issei, hey, we're not done dancing yet. Saying that, Goliath turned around to see Issei standing there with no sign of being tired or in pain. Goliath, you are such an idiot, he said, trying to hit him. Issei stopped that blow as if it were nothing and exerted a lot of force, causing his bones to begin to break. Issei, this ends now, he said, and then hit him in the face, drawing blood. The chestnut gave him another blow, knocking him to the ground and lifting a rock the size of an ox. Director, young Issei, he said weakly, stopping the brown-haired boy, it's not worth it. Issei just turned to look at all his classmates, and then looked at his fellow occult club members who just nodded. Issei dropped the rock to the side and began to walk towards the occult club while all his classmates applauded him. Issei stood in front of Rias, who without warning hit him. Rias, ouch, it hurts more than it looks. Issei, and why was that? Rias, for taking that risk. Issei, I'm sorry, Ri. It didn't end as Rias gave him a kiss on the cheek, surprising everyone and making the girls very jealous. Rias, and that was because of how brave you were. Issei just smiled and hugged Rias, who blushed at that action but did not hesitate to reciprocate the hug and did so under the gaze of everyone who had a smile except Izumi, who every time she saw her brother with the Gremry her obsession grew more. Chapter 9. After defeating Goliath, Issei had earned a great reputation that grew as the days went by, being called the Academy's Sentinel since he always protected those who needed it, and gave a good beating to the Academy's bullies. Now everything was very calm, but in the club a small but uncomfortable atmosphere of hostility began to form since a couple of days ago Rias Gremry was very serious, more than normal like the other members of the club, something that made Issei and Rainier a little uncomfortable. Issei, hey Kiba, I whisper so he'll hear it, do you know why the president is more serious than usual? Kiba, yes I know, but I think it's better that you see it for yourself. Issei, I bet you're. It didn't end because out of nowhere a circle of fire began to form on the ground and from it emerged a blond man with an arrogant look. Issei, okay, I get it. Oh my dear Rias, it's been a while since we last saw each other. Rias, what do you want, Razor Phoenix? She asked with her serious tone but at the same time with hate. Razor, can I come see my fiancé? He said arrogantly and then looked at Akino. Bring me something to drink, I'm very thirsty. Akino was going to do as asked but would be stopped by Issei. Issei, you don't have to do that, you are not anyone's slave, much less an imbecile with delusions of grandeur, he said, surprising everyone but making Razor angry with his words. Razor, and who do you think you are to talk to me like that? Issei, so let me introduce myself, he said to face him. My name is Issei Hayato, one of the few people blessed by God. The Phoenix was quite surprised upon hearing that since he believed that those people were just pure lies. Razor, you're lying, he said very nervously. Issei, what are you? A little demonstration, he said, standing firm. They both looked at each other challengingly until a silver magic circle appeared and from it came a silver-haired maid. Razor-sama, I remind you that you cannot harm a human. Rias, Grafia, what are you doing here? Grafia, your brother sent me. He knew this was going to happen, so he sent me to fix things. Akino, how? Grafia, in a rattan game, if Razor wins the wedding will still stand, but if Rias wins it can be annulled. Razor, ha, that's it, I'm going to win since I never lose a rating game. Issei, I thought they let you win out of pity, he said, making Razor more than upset. Razor, this is as far as you go, human, he said, throwing himself at him. Issei just closed his eyes and sighed before taking Razor's fist and starting to twist it. Issei, you think you're all that great, but you're not, he said, putting more force. You're just a spoiled child without the slightest idea of what it's like to suffer, lose, or try to improve yourself. Razor, bad damn you, let me go, I screamed because of the pain I felt. Grafia was going to get involved, but when she felt Issei's energy she decided not to and let the brown-haired boy continue. Issei, I warn you right now, if you do something very bad to my friends, you will suffer my fury and the strength of my lord. Saying that, he only said to Razor, who quickly walked away from him while holding his hand. Razor, this isn't going to stay like this, bastard, he said, disappearing into a magic circle. Grafia, Rias-sama, who is that young man? She whispered while looking at Issei. Rias, Issei Hayato is the older brother of Izumi Hayato, who is the bearer of Tiamat. Grafia was very impressed by that, but she just stared at Issei until Rias asked her something. Rias, and by the way, when is the rating game going to be? Grafia, huh? Ah, in 10 days, Rias-sama. Rias, it's very little, she said very nervously. Issei, don't worry, Rias, I will train them. Yuma, are you sure, Issei? Issei, but of course, maybe they won't increase their powers that much, but on the menu they'll be able to have a strategy ready to finish off that roast chicken. Everyone was very happy to receive Issei's support, but surprisingly Grafia was too, as she noticed that in his heart there was purity and sincerity, something that made her very interested in the young brown-haired boy, not knowing that there was a great power dormant within him waiting for the perfect moment to awaken. Chapter 10. Before 10 a.m., all the members of the occult club could be seen climbing a small mountain with some luggage, one bigger than the other, to warm up their muscles a bit and not have any problems with the training that Issei was going to give them. Rias, come on guys, we're almost there, she said from the top with Issei and Akino. Rainier, it's easy for her to say since she doesn't bring much. Kiba, come on Rainier, we're almost there, he said passing by her with a backpack twice the size of hers. Rainier, okay, yes I can, she said, encouraging herself. Kaneko, excuse me, he said passing by her with a much larger backpack. Rainier, okay, I can't, she said with a depressive cloud. 30 minutes later, everyone could be seen in front of a cabin without their luggage while Issei explained some things to them. Issei, well, as I could see, you are good at working as a team, he said receiving a confirmation from the club, but that is not enough. Kaneko, what do you mean by that, Issei-senpai? Issei, let me think of an example, he said thinking well an example would be you Kaneko. Kaneko, me? Issei, yes, you are good at hand-to-hand combat, and you are very strong, he said making Kaneko nod, but you are very slow, what you lack is speed like Kiba who lacks strength. Saying that made Kaneko and Kiba understand what he meant, since what one lacked the other completed. Issei, and we're going to work on that, he said taking something out of his suitcase, which was some shackles. Issei made a hole in a couple of somewhat large rocks and inserted each end of the shackles into them. Issei, okay Kaneko, come. The aforementioned only approached, but in that Issei chains Kaneko in both hands to the large rock. Kaneko, senior, what? Issei, I want you to walk 10 times, then jog 10 times, and then run 10 times. Kaneko, is this to increase my speed? Issei, and improve your physical performance. As for you Kiba, he said the same while putting shackles on his legs, I want you to only use your arms. Kiba, how? Issei, if you look Aya, he said pointing to 2 trees that had a steel rod embedded, you will climb that rod and start making bars. Kiba, how many? Issei, give me 200. Kiba froze upon hearing that but went to do what Issei asked, leaving the rest of the club. Issei, as for you, you tend to spend a lot of energy in your first magic attacks, he said, drawing the attention of the 3 girls. That's why I will ask you to concentrate some energy in your hands until you form a sphere the size of a ball, he said, receiving a nod from the girls. But you Rainier, I have something else for you. Rainier, what thing? Issei, I'm going to help you so that you can not only create a spear of light but other things. Rainier, okay Issei-kun. Issei, alright, let's get to work. So everyone trained hard, improving their physical, psychological and magical states. Kaneko had increased her speed a little as well as resistance and agility. Kiba was the same, only that he still had some trouble reacting quickly to short tanks. Rias and Akino improved in their attacks without the need to expend so much energy, while Rainier, she no longer only created spears of light but also conjured different weapons such as blades, mallets and swords of light, as well as creating shields. Present occult club raiding game. All the members of the Gremry clan and Issei could be seen gathered ready for battle against the Phoenix House, until the door of the club was opened and Sona entered. Sona, wow Rias, it seems like you've improved these days. Rias, we had a good teacher, she said looking at Issei. Sona, well, it's my turn to present the event, so I can only tell you good luck. Rias, thanks Sona. Sona, Issei, I think you'll have to stay with me since you're not part of the Gremry clan. Issei, I understand, he said walking with Sona. Make your training worth it, friends, he said leaving the club. Thus the Gremry clan prepared for the raiding game while thinking about their training, their strategy, and their goal. Gremry clan, we will win no matter what, that was what they said as they prepared to fight. Chapter 11. The raiding game had begun, the Phoenix clan versus the Gremry clan. Now they just had to wait to see who would win. If the Phoenix clan won, the wedding between Rias Gremry and Raizer Phoenix would continue, but if the Gremry clan was victorious, the wedding would be cancelled. while elsewhere you could see Issei winged by Soba, who would be the one to announce the rating game. Sona, do you think Issei will win? I asked, looking at the aforementioned Reiser has a lot of experience in the rating games. Issei, experience isn't everything in these cases, Sona, he said, drawing the attention of the brunette. You must have spirit, will and heart to achieve your goals, something that the Phoenix clan doesn't have. But the Gremry clan does, he said with a smile, surprising the brunette. Great and wise words, young man, said a female voice behind the two young men. They both turned around and saw a woman very identical to Rias, only a little older, with brown hair, violet eyes, and great beauty. Sona, Miss Venelana, she said, impressed to see her friend's mother present. Venelana. Hello, Sona, she said, and then looked at Issei. So you must be the boy who trained my daughter's entourage? She asked with a calm smile. Issei, that's right, ma'am. My name is Issei Hayadu, but you can call me Issei. Venelana, nice to meet you. I'm Venelana Bale, the ex-wife of Xiaticus Gremry. Issei, ex-wife, you said? Venelana, long story, he. Issei, let me guess, he didn't value her. Venelana, that's right, young Issei, she said, somewhat depressed. Issei, well, you're a fool for not appreciating a beautiful woman like you, he said, turning around to see the rating game without noticing the slight blush he caused in the Bale. The rating game started with a good result for the Gremry clan as they implemented the strategy that the brown-haired boy gave them, in addition to the advice that Kaneko gave them. For example, he taught her a somewhat forgotten fighting style practiced by very few called the Tiger Movement, which consisted of analyzing her opponent's attacks and looking for a way to use their same strength against them. With Kiba it was something similar. He taught him to handle his sword much better as well as his strength, teaching him the art of the snake, calculating and patient, and at the least expected moment giving his thrust just like a viper. I teach Rias and Akino to level their energy levels and use them more responsibly, as well as create shields with those same energies and counterattack by adding the opponent's energy. For Rainier, it was almost no different. She could help her conjure any weapon other than spears of light, and create shields of light that were stronger than magic shields. Thus they slowly destroyed the Phoenix clan until only Xiaolan, Isabella, Eubelina, and Reiser remained. Rias, give up, Reiser, this is a jake mate, he said with a smile. Reiser, I don't even believe that, Rias, he said with an arrogant smile while putting both hands on his back. At that, the entire Gremry entourage knelt down while breathing heavily, and what remained of the Phoenix entourage smiled. Reiser, how about we have some fun with them? Saying that, they began to mercilessly beat the Gremry Yodo entourage under a hateful gaze from a certain brown-haired boy. Issei, but what the hell happened? He wondered, watching the Gremry clan's beating. But then, in one of the blows, he managed to see a ring of a dark phoenix that was shining. Issei, that is the ring of the Phoenix of Darkness, he said, annoyed. Sona, from what I've heard, that ring is a forbidden artifact capable of absorbing the energies of its opponents. Venelana, that bastard, she said, annoyed. Issei, it's time for the fight. Let it be announced that the Phoenix clan lost for using a forbidden magic artifact. When Sona was about to stop the fight, a voice stopped her. Don't even think about it, Sona. It would be a shame if your family no longer had our support. The three of them turned in the direction where the voice came from, observing a man with blood-red hair, blue eyes, and a red beard. Venelana, Xiaticus, she said, impressed, and then became serious. So you gave that ring to Reiser? Xiaticus, that's Venelana. Sona, but it's supposed to be a forbidden artifact. Xiaticus, I'm sorry, but the Gremry clan really needs this wedding. Venelana, you are a bastard. Xiaticus, be careful with your words, honey, he said, holding her cheek seriously, if you don't want me to remind you where. He didn't finish speaking as he received a blow from Issei, who wasn't very happy about what he had heard. Issei, you are a damn wretch, he said with great hatred. Sona announces at once the elimination of the Phoenix clan. The brunette was going to do what was said until Xiaticus spoke. Xiaticus, do it, and it would be a real shame if something happened to your sister, he said, making Sona freak out. Sona, my sister? Xiaticus, that's right. So if you don't want anything bad to happen to her, announce that the Gremry clan lost. because to tell the truth it lost, ha ha ha, he said, making the three see how Rias's entourage was on the ground while the aforementioned was held by the neck by Rias while blood came out of her mouth. Do it, or your sister dies. Issei, don't do it, Sona, he just wants to play with your mind, he said, seeing how terrified she was. Don't do it, he's just lying. Sona, the Gremry clan lost the raiding game, she said, stuttering. The Phoenix clan is the winner. After saying that, Rias released Rias while laughing. Xiaticus only gave a smile of victory while Sona and Venelana looked sadly at Rias, especially Sona. But Issei had a look full of hatred, and with a quick movement he hit Xiaticus. Issei, you're going to pay for what you did, he said, quite annoyed. In that, he grabbed Xiaticus by the arm to proceed to throw him in the most specific direction in the middle of them, causing him to go through the wall and fall into the combat arena where the Phoenix clan and the Gremry clan were fighting, and then throw himself into the arena and start a fight with Xiaticus Gremry. Chapter 12. VIP room. 10 minutes before, the Citri, Baal, and Agar's Phoenix clans, those who were eliminated before the massacre that Rias organized with the Gremry, were gathered there. The Phoenix family, the Hyder family, and the 3 demon kings were also present. They were shocked by the great beating they gave to the Gremry clan, but Xerxes and Grafia were very upset while Izumi smiled as she thought that her brother would have no choice but to join her and the student council. Ajuka, I've never seen a beating like that before, he said, looking at the defeated Gremry clan lying there. Grafia, bring them from that dimension, she ordered, clenching her fists. At that moment Grafia made a magic circle transporting the Gremry clan who were badly injured, and the Phoenix clan appeared in another magic circle while they celebrated the victory. Grafia proceeded to heal the Gremry clan who woke up the moment they finished being healed. Rainier, hey, what happened? She asked in pain. Xerxes, sorry Rias, but I'm afraid that I tried to say. Rias, we lost, right? She said while her hair covered her eyes. Xerxes just nodded as he sadly looked at his sister, who began to shed a few tears while her best friend Aquino tried to calm her down, until a laugh interrupted them. Rias, ha ha ha, I won. I am the best of all, he shouted arrogantly. Now Rias Gremry is mine and there is nothing that. He didn't finish speaking when he heard a loud noise. Everyone turned their gaze to where he was, seeing how the place where the raiding game was being narrated, more specifically where Sona was, debris was shot out into the arena where the Phoenix clan and the Gremry clan were fighting. But then they saw a red flash crash in the middle of the arena, raising a large curtain of dust, and when the dust dissipated they could see Xiaticus with some scratches. All Xiaticus Gremry, those in the VIP room said, surprised and at the same time hateful. Note, I forgot to clarify in the previous chapter that Venelana divorced Xiaticus for obvious reasons, that he was a miserable son of a hitch, and that she only managed to keep custody of Xerxes when they were little, but she didn't manage to keep custody of Rias. But in that they also see Issei come down from the raiding game transmission area, who hit Xiaticus with a mallet, surprising everyone, but in that they see how Issei hits him in the face with his left hand and then repeats the action with the same fist. Then he hit him with a right hand and continue repeating the series of blows until he hit him with a left hand. The Hyder family, the Gremry clan and the Citri clan did not understand why Issei hit Xiaticus, while the Demon Kings, the Phoenix clan, Agars, Baal were quite shocked to see how a simple human hit Xiaticus with great force, but what they did notice was that he was quite upset. Issei, do you have any idea what you did to your daughter? He said, quite annoyed. He then proceeded to hit him repeatedly with his right, then grabbed him by the shirt, hit him with his left, then spun around and slammed him into a wall, then gave him a left hook that sent him flying against a wall. Issei quickly went to Xiaticus to hit him, but the redhead double-kicked him, making him back off. Xiaticus, I sacrificed my daughter for the greater good of not only the Phoenix or Gremry clan, but also the underworld, he said, moving his neck and cracking it. It was a very good idea to give that ring to Rias so that he could absorb her powers and thus win, he said, holding him by the head and starting to hit him without knowing that they were still broadcasting everything live. In the VIP room, everyone hearing what Xiaticus said, a great doubt grew while Rias sweated cold, but then they saw Sona and Venelana appear. But Sona would go to hug her sister with great force, disconcerting everyone, but Sarah Fall with that hug knew that something was wrong. Rias, Mom, what's happening? She asked, approaching her mother. Venelana, Your father planned all this, she said seriously. In the fight, Xiaticus had hit Issei, making him step back, then he gave him a right hand making him spit blood, then he gave him a big right hook making him rise and then fall abruptly to the ground. In the VIP room, Venelana had told Xiaticus about her plan, making everyone extremely angry, but Sarah fall even more so for having threatened her little sister. Xerxes, you are bastards, he said looking at Rias. Rias, don't you dare do something stupid, he said, scared to grab Asia or her pretty face ends up incinerated. But in a quick movement Cerorg grabbed him by the wrist and hit him hard in the stomach, making him let go of Asia and fall to the ground on his knees while holding his stomach. Cerorg, you disgust me, he said coldly while the others looked at him with hatred, but Ravel and Lady Phoenix looked at him with sadness and disappointment. Lady Phoenix, I can't believe you've fallen so low, my son, she thought as she looked away. But then they would hear moans of pain and everyone would turn to fight. In the fight, Xiaticus would grab Issei's face and neck to try to break it. Xiaticus, it seemed like you cared about my daughter, so you got so angry like that, he said mockingly. Issei would only grab Xiaticus's face with both hands, causing him to become bewildered like the others, but when the brunette opened his eyes, everyone could see how his eyes shone a golden color. Issei, it burns was what he said, causing golden flames to come out of his hands that burned the redhead's face, but then his eyes returned to normal, and he seemed quite bewildered. VIP room. Everyone was quite impressed by what he had done, even the Gremory clan, since they had never seen him do that. Sikviria, but who is this boy? She asked while looking analytically at the brown-haired boy. Rias. His name is Issei Haida and he is one of the few people who is blessed by God, she said, impressing everyone except those who already knew. Sarah Fall, you sure have some weird friends, Gremory girl, she said with a mocking smile. Sona, but there is something I don't understand, she said, drawing everyone's attention. How do you use those flames? Ikari, that's true. Tezuka, how do I manage to make those flames? These and more questions were asked, but a certain dragon was already getting an idea of what it was. Tiamat, could it be that? It didn't end as a rumble was heard throughout the place as well as a tremor. In the fight, Issei was sent flying into a wall by a punch from Xiaticus. Xiaticus, you should have stayed away from matters that do not concern you, he said, and then ran against the brown-haired boy. He began to give him a series of blows, scaring the Gremory clan and the Haida family. But in that they see that Xiaticus jumps and hits Issei in the back, causing the dimension of the battle to disappear, and both of them fall in the middle of the city of Lilith, where a statue of the current Lucifer lived. Causing a large curtain of dust to rise, everyone teleported to where they were, putting themselves in a safe area while the demons who were there recorded what was happening, and that the curtain of dust began to fade, seeing how the brown-haired man was standing looking at the redhead with hatred. Issei, happy? He asked sarcastically, lifting him up and giving him a big blow, sending him crashing at the feet of the statue, and then he began to hit him relentlessly in the face. Do you know what I have suffered? He said with hatred as he continued to hit him, making his blows sound like thunder. What have you? He didn't finish speaking when he saw Rias and his entourage, who looked at him sadly, as did the others, especially the Haida family, since they were the reason for his suffering and sadness. But in that Xiaticus would give him a strong knee in the pit of the stomach, leaving him almost unconscious. Xiaticus, for a moment I thought you were going to kill me, he said, grabbing him by the neck. What a tone of you to have hesitated like that. That is a mistake I would never make, I can assure you, he said while his free hand was covered in a dark fire ready to kill him until. Rias, wait, she said, stopping her father. Please don't kill him. I'll do whatever you want, but please don't kill him, she said with great sadness. Xiaticus, what I wanted, huh? He said with an evil smile. Issei, Rias, go away, he said with difficulty. Xiaticus, okay, I'll let this moron live if he marries you to Rias Phoenix, he said while keeping his smile. Rias, oh okay, she said with tears, just please leave him alone. Xiaticus, done, he said, releasing him. Issei fell unconscious when he fell to the ground while he was helped by the Gremory clan, the Citri clan, the Haida family, and surprisingly Lady Phoenix, while the entire underworld looked with hatred at Xiaticus Gremory, but more so Venelana, Sarah Fall and Xerxes when they saw that in the end he and Rias ended up winning. Chapter 13. Quas City 1 week later. A week had passed after the raiding game against Razor Phoenix and Issei's fight against Zeoticus. Since then the Gremory has been by Issei's side, who had not awakened since the day of the fight against Zeoticus, while Rias had married Razor and was locked up in the Phoenix territory, as well as treated like a slave by him. Occult Club. Issei could be seen lying on a bed in one of the club's rooms, but something was going on in his mind. Issei's mental space. He could be seen lying on the ground unconscious. After a couple of minutes the brown-haired boy begins to wake up seeing his surroundings. Issei, where am I? He asked as he stood up and stretched a little. The brown-haired boy began to walk for almost 10 minutes until he thought that there was nothing but darkness, until he saw how some golden flames appeared out of nowhere. Issei stood on guard in case he had to fight, but then he saw how a large silver and gold dragon came out of the flames. Issei, wow, he said, seeing the immense dragon in front of him. So you're my name bearer? He said, looking at the brown-haired boy in front of him. Tell me what your name is, boy. Issei, my name is Issei Hayadu. So Issei Hayadu? As I see, you are one of the few people who were blessed by God. Issei, that's right, sir. My name is Acacius, the celestial dragon of peace, said the dragon, seeing how Issei is surprised. Issei, but there are only supposed to be 2 celestial dragons. Acacius, the Welsh dragon and the vanished dragon, yes, but there are very few who know about me. Issei, and tell me, why did you choose me? Acacius, for your faith and will, he said, making Issei a little confused. Your will is so great that it made you worthy of being one of the few blessed by it. In addition to Mercer, my power, he said, making Issei understand a little, and your faith in God made you worthy of my trust. Issei, but I'm weak, I couldn't save my friend from that phoenix. Acacius, you are not weak, Issei, just try again, he said, starting to disappear. Save her, Issei Hayadu. After saying that, Acacius disappeared, leaving Issei Hayadu, who was very thoughtful, but then put on a look full of determination as he looked into nothing. Issei, don't worry, Rias, I'll come for you. In the hidden room, Akino had entered the room to change Issei's sheets, but the moment she entered she saw him sitting on the edge of the bed with a serious look. Akino, Issei, you finally woke up, she said happily while hugging the brown-haired boy, who reciprocated the hug. Issei, sorry for worrying you like this, Akino, he said, hugging her a little harder but without hurting her. Akino, where is Rias? Akino, sorry, but she's in Phoenix territory. Issei just separated from Akino and got up from the bed to proceed to leave the room until he was stopped by the black-haired girl. Akino, Issei-kun, where are you going? Issei, I'll go get her. Akino, but it's dangerous, you can. Issei, I don't care, I'll go get her. So you're determined to rescue her, boy, said a voice behind the brown-haired boy. When Issei turned around he saw a certain silver-haired maid who had a slight smile on her face. Akino, Miss Grafia, she said, surprised. Issei, are you going to stop me? He said seriously, looking at the silver-haired girl. Grafia, of course not, she said, giving him a magic transportation circle. This will take you to the Phoenix territory. Issei, why are you doing this? Grafia, I appreciate Miss Rias very much, and that's why I'm helping you, plus Venelana-sama wants you to save her. Issei just nodded to take that magic circle over there towards the Phoenix territory. Akino, do you think I managed to save Rias? Grafia, he will succeed. Phoenix territory, a magic circle could be seen appearing on a hill, revealing a certain chestnut tree which was looking at the Phoenix territory with great seriousness. Issei, so this is where Rias is, he said, and then started walking towards the Phoenix territory. I'm coming for you, Rias, just wait a little longer. Chapter 14. Phoenix Mansion. Rias could be seen locked in her room crying on her bed, since ever since she set foot in that terrible mansion she has suffered a lot, always humiliated and trampled by Razor Phoenix as well as his entourage and his father. The only ones who tried to help her were Ravel and Lady Phoenix. They were the only ones trying to help. But currently they had gone out to buy some things that were missing for the mansion, while Rias was crying on her bed until the door to her room was opened very abruptly by a guard of the mansion. Guard, Mr. Razor Phoenix and his father want to see you, the guard ordered. Rias, I'm not going to go, she said seriously, and then was taken by the arm. Guard, they didn't ask you if you wanted to go or not, it's an order, he said, starting to pull her. Rias tried to resist, but in the end the guard took her to where Razor was with his entourage and his father, who were in the main room accompanied by about 29 other guards. Guard, I brought her as you requested, sir, said the guard, throwing Rias to the ground. Razor, as I see, you resisted, right? Love. Rias, what do you want now, Razor? Razor, well, it's just that we're so bored and I wanted you to give us some entertainment. Rias, I'm not going to humiliate myself in front of you again, she said seriously. Razor, I think you have no choice. After saying that, all the guards started pushing her while making fun of her. Rias, leave me alone, she said, trying to defend herself. Please leave me alone. But then a glow began to form, causing everyone to leave Rias while a guard looked out the window, seeing something that really shocked and scared him. Razor, what's wrong? Guard, the crops are on fire, he said, alarmed. Razor, what? He asked, shocked. All of you stay here, also you, Oto-san. Make sure he doesn't leave, he said, while the 29 guards and Lord Phoenix stayed to watch Rias while Razor, along with his entourage, and the guard left to see what was happening, shocked to see the following. Razor, what are you waiting for? Aim at the bastard who caused this. Guard, that's the problem, sir, there's no one there. Razor, what? Then who started the fire? Guard, extend alone, sir, he said while they watched as the fire moved from one side to the other, spreading throughout all of the Phoenix family's crops, while they heard a kind of howls and tried to decipher how the fire started. Inside the mansion. Lord Phoenix, Ja, you still think they will come to save you, he said while groping Rias. Rias, please leave me alone, she said, almost pleadingly, making everyone laugh. Lord Phoenix, at first it's going to hurt, he said, approaching the redhead's face, but you're going to like it, he said, almost kissing her, until a voice interrupted them. She said to leave her alone, said the voice that sounded very upset. Everyone turned to where the voice came from, seeing a certain brown-haired man wearing Hebrew clothes, showing off his muscles. 1. Lord Phoenix, well, look who we have here, he said, releasing Rias. If it's the child who was beaten by Zeoticus, ha. Issei, the reason I lost was because Razor took away part of my strength with the ring they gave him, he said, making the Phoenix nervous. Did you really think I didn't notice? Lord Phoenix, but you still lost, so go away. But what disgusts me the most is seeing a man step on the floor of my house, and even more if it is a Hebrew, he said, surprising Rias since she never knew that the brown-haired man was Hebrew. Issei, I'll go, but only if you give me Rias, he said seriously. Lord Phoenix, didn't you hear? I said get out of my house now. Issei, give me Rias and I'll go in peace. Lord Phoenix, I would kill you right here and then grape that gremmery in front of your corpse, he said while pointing a sword at his abdomen. Issei just took the sword, making Lord Phoenix try to withdraw his sword, but he couldn't even move it an inch. The brown-haired boy looked at Rias, who was with her clothes in a mess. Her face had some bruises and her hair was dirty. Issei, more than angry, he hit Lord Phoenix in the chest, sending him flying a couple of meters as well as breaking his ribs and stopping his heart, killing him. A guard quickly approached Lord Phoenix's body to check if he was still alive. Guard, he is dead, he said, shocked. Issei, give me Rias Gremory and I will leave in peace, he said seriously. Guard, you're crazy, he said, and then took out a sword, killed that Hebrew dog. All the guards threw themselves against Issei, but the brunette blocked an attack with his hand and then hit a guard in the abdomen, killing him. The others tried to attack to kill the brunette, but he simply repelled the attacks and counterattacked with more force. He dodged the thrust of a spear and then hit a guard in the jaw, sending him flying accompanied by 3 others. Another tried to attack him from behind, but Issei reacted quickly and grabbed him by the neck and then broke it. Another took him by the arm to hit him in the stomach, hearing his ribs break from the impact of the blow. Rias just closed her eyes as she didn't want to see her love interest being hurt. Every blow Issei gave meant several broken bones. She didn't care if they could regenerate. He fought without fear. The armor and shields they carried he shattered with his own fists. In short, the demons of the Phoenix House were contemplating the wrath of the strongest Hebrew and loyal servant of God, Issei Hayadu. Rias was listening to the sound of armor and shields colliding with Issei's fists, as well as the bones of the guards breaking and then not hearing The redhead opened her eyes, seeing the corpses of the guards scattered on the ground, while Issei was on his knees with his fists full of blood. Rias, Issei, she said in a whisper. Issei, they won't hurt you again, Rias, he said seriously, looking at her. Rias, Issei, she said almost screaming, running to him to hug him. Issei, let's go home, Rias, he said in a soft tone to pick her up and take her home. Chapter 15. Phoenix Mansion. Razor and his entourage tried to extinguish the fire, but unfortunately for them everything had been consumed by the flames, causing the Phoenix house to be left without its crops. Razor was more than furious, and swore to exterminate whoever dared to challenge him in that way. But his thoughts were cut off by certain phoenixes which had arrived from the city of Lilith, taking with them their crops turned to ashes. Lady Phoenix, but what happened here? She said, shocked and angry. Eubelina, something started the fire. We don't know what it was, it spread on its own. Revel, I'd better go see Rias, he said, leaving the place. Lady Phoenix, do you have any clue as to what happened? Guard, no, ma'am. But then they heard a scream coming from the main room, which was Ravel's. Everyone quickly headed to the place, seeing Ravel observing something that really shocked them. It was almost all the guards of the Phoenix house lying on the ground dead. And I, by Lucifer, she said, shocked. Carmine, who would be capable of doing something like that? But then they saw a guard start coughing up blood, causing everyone to approach where he was. Razor, what day did it happen here? I asked seriously. Guard, T6 said, he said, dying. Isabella, who came? Guard, the Hebrew Issei, he said, causing everyone to be surprised. Razor, he was here? Guard, you were watching on the GREMO Rias ordered, he said weakly. Her FA though was about to grape her, he said, shocking everyone but more so Ravel and Lady Phoenix, but the apparition defeated us all as if we were mere flies, he said, and then fell dead. Shui, and now what is Razor-sama going to do? Razor, we will close the entire territory, he said seriously as he stood up. I want that son of a hitch captured and I want him alive. Ravel, Ani-sama, why don't you just let them go? Razor, no, that bastard dared to challenge me and now he's going to pay the consequences, he said seriously and annoyed as he left the mansion with his entourage. Lady Phoenix, we must find that boy, she whispered to her daughter. Ravel, well, let's go quickly, she said, leaving the mansion with her mother. With Issei and Rias, they were walking very discreetly through the city that was in the Phoenix's territory. The brown-haired boy had stolen some clothes for the redhead so he could avoid attracting too much attention. Rias, now what Issei? Issei, it seems that Razor has informed everyone what happened in his mansion, he said, watching as some guards searched for them by air. I can't activate the magic circle without drawing everyone's attention. Rias, now what are we going to do? Issei, it would be best to use the magic circle on you. Rias, and what will you do? Issei, I'll entertain you. Rias, you're crazy, we're both going to leave. Issei, it wasn't a question, Rias, he said, pushing her to fall to the ground and then activating the magic circle quickly. Rias, no, Issei, wait, it was the only thing she said before disappearing. Issei turned to where the guards were, seeing how they were heading to where he was. The brown-haired boy quickly left there. It took around 2 minutes until he reached an abandoned house, but it looked in good condition. Issei, okay, everyone knows I'm here. Now how the hell am I going to get out? Maybe I can help you, said a voice behind him. Issei turned quickly, seeing a blonde woman with blue eyes and a red dress. Issei, wait a minute, I know her. She was with Lord Phoenix when the raiding game happened. You are Lady Phoenix. Lady Phoenix, my name is Margareth. Issei, what do you want? Margareth, I just want to help you. My son knows that you are still here in our territory, she said, while Issei turned to a window, seeing many guards surrounding her together with Razor, his entourage, and surprising Xioticus. Issei, did Xioticus and Razor send you? Margareth, you're wrong, I just want to help you. Issei, why? Margareth, would you be so cruel as to make me discover my heart? She said, making the brown-haired boy look at her. When I saw you fight in the raiding game with Xioticus, I remembered something. Issei, what thing? Margareth, when I was a little girl I wanted a husband who understood me. Who would take care of me and who would love me just the way I am? Issei, perhaps you. It didn't end when he saw the door of the place open, revealing several guards. Issei took the phoenix by the hand and then left without giving them the chance to see who it was. Issei was running through the city for 5 minutes until he lost them in an alley. Issei, what am I going to do? The city knows I'm here, he said, frustrated. Margareth, I have a house on the outskirts of the Phoenix territory. You can hide there until I tell Venelana about the situation, she said, watching how Issei looked into her eyes, making her get lost in his honey-colored eyes. Issei, stay here tonight. They won't look for you, he said, leaving the place, leaving the Phoenix. Issei walked very carefully and stealthily through the streets of Phoenix City towards the nearest gate, but then he saw a group of guards appear in front of him, causing him to hide quickly. Guard 1, where could he be? Guard 2, when I find him I'll kill him. Guard 1, remember, Mr. Razor wants him alive. Guard 2, but where could he have gone? Guard 3, here it is, he shouted, calling everyone's attention. Come to me, I see it, come to me. Issei grabbed a torch and proceeded to defend himself, knocking the guards unconscious and then starting to run while being followed by Razor and his entourage. Razor, don't think you're going to escape, garbage, he said, throwing several fire attacks that were dodged by Issei. But when he was about to leave the territory, he saw how some guards closed the door while all the citizens of the territory surrounded him, putting him against the sword and the wall. Issei ran towards the door only to receive 2 spears that were stuck in his chest and abdomen. Issei, damn, he claimed, breaking the spears. Xiaticus, you have nowhere to go, kid, he said, standing in front of everyone with an arrogant smile. Those walls are made of an alloy of iron and dragon scales. You have nowhere to run. Issei saw that he had no way out, but then the faces of Murayama, Kates, Lady Phoenix, his friends from the occult club, and Rias came to his mind. Issei, no, I can't die here, he said, turning around and putting his hands on the door. Lord, your servant begs you once more, he said as Margareth appeared and swore to her daughter Ravel, seeing the brown-haired boy, with your strength, protect me. After saying that, Issei proceeded to push the door while Razor and Xiaticus laughed since they thought he would never succeed. But those laughs went away after hearing a loud bang, just as everyone fell silent because of that. The brown-haired boy began to push harder while giving a loud scream. Everyone was practically shocked since they saw something that was basically impossible. The walls were breaking with each push the brown-haired man gave. Issei with a last effort tore off the gate of the Phoenix City while the wall collapsed, and then charged the gate. Issei, let them see, he said as he began to walk. Let them witness the strength of the god, he said, taking another step with the door on his back, living. Issei began to walk with the intention of getting away from the Phoenix territory while the citizens of that territory watched him walk away, obviously unable to believe what had happened. Even Razor and Xiaticus couldn't believe it. A human tearing off the doors and knocking down a wall that was practically almost indestructible. But among all those people there was only one who was happy to see the brown-haired man escape. With Issei, he had arrived at a hill far from the Phoenix territory, and had dropped the gate to proceed up and watch as the stars lit up the sky. Chapter 16. Forest/far from Phoenix territory day. A cart could be seen passing along a path in the middle of the forest. Everything was very quiet until the cart stopped near a small lake that was near a cabin. Under the cart Margareth, who looked very worried, and boy did she have reason to be, since in front of the cart was Issei lying on the ground unconscious, implying that he had lost a lot of blood. Without further ado, Margareth began to drag him until she got him into the cart, and then continued on her way. Issei's dream. The brown-haired boy was walking through a beautiful field of flowers. The brown-haired boy was walking calmly while holding hands with a white-haired girl while they laughed. Issei looked very happy about it without knowing what was happening in real life. In real life, Margareth was cleaning all the wounds that the brown-haired boy had on his body until she feels him caress her cheek, making her look at him and blush at the same time. She enjoyed the brown-haired boy's caress until she heard something. Issei, Terran, my love, he said, still lost in his dreams. Margareth, for some reason she didn't understand, was a little annoyed that he said that name, but curiosity also invaded her. Who was Terran? It was the question that was going through her head, until she saw how the brown-haired boy began to wake up, seeing what was happening. thus removing his hand from the phoenix's cheek to try to get up, but Margareth kept her lying down so she could rest. Margareth, calm down, nothing's wrong, she said, trying to calm him down. You need to rest, she had said, getting him to relax so he could go back to sleep. 4 days later. It had already been 4 days since Issei rescued Rias from Razor Phoenix, and since then he was declared a wanted criminal as Razor Phoenix showed how he had killed several guards and his father as well as taking Rias. Since then many clans and trackers began to look for him except for the Citri clan, the Bale clan, the Agar's clan and some members of the Gremory clan. Also during that time Margareth had tried to keep Issei hidden in her cabin. Now she was filling a bucket of water to clean the brunette's body. But the moment she entered the cabin she saw Issei sitting on the bed while having a serious look. Margareth, you're awake, she said, somewhat surprised. You've been asleep for 4 days. Issei, what has happened all this time? He asked seriously. Margareth, you were considered an SSS class criminal, she said seriously. Now you are wanted throughout the underworld. The brown-haired boy, upon hearing that, only became more serious as he clenched his fists, and then got out of bed and put something on to cover his torso, but then started walking towards the exit. He was going to proceed to leave the cabin until he was hugged from behind by Margareth, who was visibly very worried about him. Something that impressed the brown-haired boy a lot, and even more so with what she said. Margareth, don't go out. If you go out they will surely hunt you down relentlessly, she said, worried about him. Please stay. Issei, but I have to go back and see if Rias is. Margareth, she's fine. Venelana, Grafia and Xerxes took her and her entourage to a safe place until they could find a way to solve this, she said while hugging him tighter. Please stay, at least until we find a way to get you out of here safely. Issei, sigh. Okay, I'll stay until I find a way to leave the underworld safely, he said, releasing himself from the Phoenix's embrace to sit on the bed while she looked at him with a smile. Phoenix Territory. In the Phoenix Territory, Razor could be seen sitting on what appeared to be a throne while drinking some wine and looking in front of him at a hologram of Issei. The Phoenix only proceeded to throw his glass of wine at the hologram, passing through it and causing it to fall to the ground. Razor, I swear I'm going to capture you no matter what bastard you are, even if I have to burn all of hell to do it, he said, very annoyed as he watched the hologram fade away, revealing a guard from the Phoenix house. What do you want? Guard, sir. I just came to report that your younger sister, Ravel Phoenix, arrived as you requested, he said, making Razor smile. Razor, send her in then, he said as he made another glass full of wine appear. At that the guard leaves the room, letting Razor's younger sister in, who didn't understand what was happening until she saw her brother's face, which was decorated with a somewhat evil smile, something that gave the younger Phoenix a bad feeling, since she felt that what was going to happen was not going to go very well. Ravel, why did you call me brother? I asked seriously. Razor, well, a little bird told me that you had some information about the scum that killed our people, he said seriously while several guards appeared around Ravel with spears pointing at her neck, causing her to just stay still while she looked with fear and hatred at her brother, who had an evil smile on his face, and her servants could only see that without being able to intervene. Chapter 17. Phoenix Territory / Mansion. It seemed that everything was quite calm in the Great Phoenix Mansion, but to tell the truth it was not like that. In the main hall you could see Razor walking in circles around his younger sister Ravel, who was full of bruises and blood coming out of her lip, while the members of his clan looked at that helplessly, and a couple of guards took her by the arms to lift her up while Razor cracked his knuckles ready to continue hitting her. Razor, okay Ravel, I'm going to ask you one more time. Where is that damn Hebrew human? Ravel, I don't know, she said, only to receive another blow from Razor. Razor, don't lie, he shouted while grabbing her by the neck. Now tell me, where is it? Ravel, I don't know. Razor only proceeded to throw Ravel to the ground as he moved away from her a little. It seemed that he wanted to contain his anger as he began to destroy everything in that room while the guards tried to calm him down. Although it was useless, he wished with all his being to tear Issei apart. Ravel, seeing her brother's anger, feared for her life, but she would never tell the location of where he was, since she had promised her mother. Razor, Ravel, if you don't tell me where she is, I swear, he tried to say until he saw something on Ravel's clothes. The older blonde approached Ravel, making her nervous. but the moment he was face to face with her he proceeded to quickly put his hand on Ravel's shoulder, scaring her, making her think that he was going to hit her again, but in reality he had taken what was hanging on Ravel's clothes, took it off and looked at it carefully, seeing that it was a blue thread. Ravel, seeing what he was looking at, was quite scared. "Razor, if I remember correctly, this is the fabric that Oka-san used for her hut," he said, smiling maliciously while looking at his sister. "So Oka-san also has something to do with this." In Margaretha's cabin, she was knitting something while Issei prepared something to eat, since he didn't want to be alone in support, and he also wanted to help with some things there in that cabin. She was quite happy to see that the brown-haired boy was willing to help. Although there was something that intrigued her a lot, and that was why Issei didn't cut his hair. He had been with her for some time, and she saw that he didn't care. On the contrary, he let it grow. Now he had it loose down to his waist. "Margareth, hey Issei." "Issei, yes?" "Margareth, well, I have a question." "Issei, what would that question be?" "Margareth, why don't you cut your hair?" I asked, making Issei stop what he was doing. "It's just that, as I see it, you never cut it, and you let it grow, and that's why I wanted to know." "Issei, I can't just Margareth-san." "Margareth, why?" "Issei, I just can't," he said while serving some of what he was cooking on a plate. "Margareth, sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable, Issei-kun." "Issei, you don't have to worry," he said, approaching her. "Here, you better eat something," he said, giving her the plate of food. "Margareth, but what about you?" "Issei, I'm going out to check out the surroundings. When I get back I'll eat something." "Margareth, you don't have to do that, just stay like that." "Issei, don't worry, I'll be fine," he said while leaving the plate on the table. "I'll be back in a few minutes, don't worry." "Margareth, it's okay, just be careful, okay?" "Issei, sure," he said, getting up to leave the cabin. The chestnut began to walk towards the forest without realizing that among the bushes he saw people heading to the cabin where Margareth was, who was calmly eating the broth that the chestnut had prepared for her, who continued walking as if nothing had happened while humming a song until he felt something strange, a bad feeling. So he decided to return to the cabin to make sure it was just his imagination. In the cabin, Margareth was eating the broth that Issei had prepared for her while continuing to knit, but then the door of the cabin was destroyed by a large group of guards who began to surround the phoenix, who was quite shocked to see them. But just before she could do anything, she was chained by chains that drained her energy, as well as being subdued by two guards, while another hologram of Razor appeared which had a mocking smile. "Razor, of all the people who could betray the Phoenix clan, you were the one I least thought could do that, Oka-san." "Margareth, Razor, how come?" "Razor, it was thanks to Ravel, don't worry, she didn't say anything to me, I only knew why she had this hanging," he said, showing the thread. "Scaring Margareth before you jump to conclusions, she's fine, locked in the dungeons with some bruises, but fine." "Margareth, what do you want, Razor?" "Razor, you already know Oka-san, where is it?" "Margareth, I will never tell you," she said seriously. "Razor, I thought she would be with you, but I think she decided to abandon you," he said mockingly. "Guard 1, what do we do with her, sir?" "Razor, do what you want with her, but I want her brought to me alive," he said, cutting off communication. After saying that, the guards began to look at the phoenix with lust while she felt great fear, and without further ado the guards proceeded to take her out of the cabin to start pushing her while tearing her clothes, leaving her only with her underwear set that was yellow with orange details, while parts of her torn clothes still hung while the guards looked at her with lust. "Guard 2, haha, we're going to have a lot of fun, my lady, ha." After saying that they were going to proceed to abuse the phoenix if it weren't for the fact that some footsteps began to be heard, drawing everyone's attention, making them turn to where they came from, seeing a certain brown-haired boy who was beginning to crack his knuckles and seemed to be very, very furious about what was happening. "Issei, I want you to leave her alone now," the brown-haired boy demanded, causing the demons to laugh. "Guard 4, who do you think you are to demand something from us?" "Issei, I said, I want you to leave her alone and go back to where you came from." "Guard 9, it's obvious that you want to die, dirty Hebrew," he said, and then tried to hit him. The brown-haired boy took the blow very easily, beginning to squeeze it while the demon began to moan in pain as he began to kneel down, Everyone looked at that with shock, and then the brown-haired boy gave a strong blow to the demon's chest, sending him flying, falling in front of his companions. The Valas were shocked by that. Demon 10, it can't be, he killed him with one blow, he said, shocked at not feeling his pulse. Issei, get out of here now, he said while standing in place. Demon, damn bastard, kill that bastard. After shouting that, all the guards began to attack Issei, who awaited them very calmly. The first one tried to run him through with his sword, but the brown-haired boy held him to give him a blow that broke his neck, and then received a blow to the face from another demon, which only made him more enraged, returning it to him with Ma outside, causing him to fly away with the group that you are with him. Issei began to fight, or rather humiliate, the demons by killing them one by one. They could not do anything against the fury of the punishing hand of God. Issei killed them mercilessly until none of them remained. Margareth was quite impressed to see how the large group of demons that her son sent were dead, while Issei is in the middle of the corpses without a scratch, but he was still very upset by what happened. Without a doubt, Razor was not going to get rid of the wrath of the brown-haired boy that easily, who was willing to end his life. Chapter 18. Phoenix Castle. Inside the Phoenix family castle, more specifically in the main room, the Razor Phoenix clan could be seen being confronted by the Gremry clan that was being accompanied by the Citri clan, which remained on the sidelines waiting for the moment to intervene if necessary, and as things were going they feared that it would be necessary to intervene to avoid conflicts between clans. In addition to the demonic council, the families of the three clans and the leaders Leviathan and Lucifer being also present. Old Man 1, look, I recommend that we take this easy, please. Searches. As if we calm down when we find out that this idiot cheated with the help of the leader of the Gremry clan, he said, pointing at Razor and Zeoticus accusingly. Zeoticus, have more respect for me, boy, since I am still your father after all. Razor, besides, the rating game has already passed and I was the winner, so there is no way to cancel the commitment. Rias, then I challenge you to a new rating game, Razor, but this time it's going to be fair. Razor, ha ha ha, what if I refuse to accept? I asked mockingly. But outside the room they heard the guards trying to stop someone, but it seemed like they couldn't, since they could hear their moans of pain, screams, several blows, and pleas for them not to be next. After a couple of minutes, silence was the only thing they heard. Sona, Tsubaki, go check. Tsubaki, and why me? Sona, because I'm ordering you as a king, so go, he said, claimed, making his queen slowly approach the door. She was already stuck to it to see if there was something outside, but she suddenly stepped back, falling on her back when she heard a loud bang hitting the door, alerting everyone. Then another bang was heard, followed by another and another, to the point that the door began to dent with the blows that were being given from the other side, until just one more blow was enough to make the door fly out, causing everyone to cover themselves so as not to get hurt by it, which hit the other end of the room. Then I challenge you to a duel, Razor Phoenix, the voice was heard through the smoke screen at the exit of the room. Everyone stared at the silhouette that was among the dust that was slowly dispersing, until it was seen that it was Issei himself who entered the room, walking towards Razor until he was face to face with him. Issei, you and I hand in hand, Razor. Whoever wins decides Rias' fate, he said seriously, surprising everyone. Razor, yeah, sure, I don't think he's human. Zeoticus, listen to me well, kid. Razor Phoenix managed to win the rating game, so this wedding will continue. Elder 3. I don't think so, Zeoticus, he said, drawing everyone's attention from what we were told. Razor Phoenix cheated with a forbidden relic. Elder 5. So the result of that rating game has been annulled, he said seriously, while the majority of the council supported that decision. Elder 1. So raise your hands those who do not want this fight between Razor Phoenix and the human to end, he said, seeing that about 4 of the council raised their hands those who want it to happen, he said, seeing that the majority 6 of the council, including him, raised their hands. Okay. By majority vote it has been decided that the fight between Razor Phoenix and the human. Sorry, what is your name, young man? Issei, my name is Issei Hayadu. Elder 1, okay, then it's decided. In 5 hours the fight between Razor Phoenix and Issei Hayadu for the hand of Rias Gremry will take place, so you better get ready. Razor, I swear I'm going to destroy you, damn human. Issei, I'm looking forward to seeing you try it. Bird, he said mockingly as he turned his back and walked towards the exit, followed by the Gremry clan and Citri. Elder 1, We will go to prepare everything and announce about the last-minute combat, so be ready when we call you, he said, disappearing in a magic circle with the others of the council, leaving the families and the Phoenix clan. Razor, I swear I will destroy that human at all costs, he said, leaving the room in an unknown direction, followed by his entourage. With Issei, he was leaving the Phoenix territory, seeing that in the garden Margareth Phoenix was waiting for him with her daughter Ravel, whom he had taken out of the dungeons, while Issei took care of the guards and confronted Razor. Issei, well, things went better than I had planned, he said as he approached the Phoenix. Margareth, so that means that? Issei, yeah, Razor and I will have our meeting in about 5 hours. But then they see the Citri and Gremory clan arriving, a little agitated since they literally had to run to catch up with him, but his sister came out from among them, who was very upset and tried to hit him, but he held her hand tightly. Issei, what do you think I was going to do, young lady? Izumi, you're such a fool, you disappear for days and then reappear just to challenge Razor to a fight? You have no idea how worried our parents were. I complained to him, very annoyed at what he did. Issei, worried about me, you say? He asked, facing her. From what I understand, they only worry about you, not me. Izumi, what are you talking about? They care about you too. Issei, you are wrong there, since I have never been a part of their lives for many years. I no longer appear in the photos that are hanging on the walls or overturned on the furniture. They never took me with you when you went out for a walk or even a little trip. They never went to my family gatherings and they did not celebrate my birthday, he began to say, drawing everyone's attention. For them you were only you, their greatest pride, even though I excelled in more things than you. They simply put you on a pedestal for having the Dragon Queen Tiamat, while I was only left to the side, forgotten, watching as you received everything while I struggled to get what was necessary. So do not come to me with that about them worrying about me now. After saying that, he proceeded to turn his back, ready to leave the Phoenix territory, being followed by Margareth, Ravel and the Gremory clan, leaving behind the Citri clan, who looked with pity at Izumi, who only clenched her fists from the helplessness, fury and sadness she had, since it was true. They never paid the slightest attention to Issei, forgetting about him completely, and now that action has already taken its toll on her family. But she was willing to do whatever it took to have her brother back with them with her.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.